Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Randesha, or Randy for short, and in this video it is the third video in a student loan series. So if you haven't seen my previous videos, and I'll go ahead and link them up in the cards, please watch those videos so that this will make sense, and or if you just want to learn more about student loans. So this is going to be a video about how I intend to tackle my husband's student loans, because if you're new to my channel, my husband is on track to getting into medical school and eventually becoming a doctor, but I don't want to wait until he graduates med school and everything and has a ton of loans in order to start repaying them. So this is basically going to be my plan. If you want to stick around and hear like my thoughts on it further, then please keep watching. All right, so let me get my little paper here so I can stay on track. So our plan to repay his loans while he's still in school, or in a grace period. So what we intend to do is we intend to make monthly payments, basically interest only payments that is paying any accrued interest on all of his unsubsidized loans. Because if you watch my previous videos, then you know that subsidized loans do not, you do not have to pay the interest on subsidized loans that is covered by the government. So interest on those loans are not accruing, and it doesn't start accruing until after the 6-month grace period after you graduate. So we intend to pay the monthly interest that accrue on all unsubsidized loans. But if we, because money is tight right now, and who knows what it's going to be once he gets into med school in a couple of years. But if it's still tight, and we don't have enough money to cover the interest on all of his unsubsidized loans, then what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the loan with the highest interest rate first on the unsubsidized loans. So also too, right now my husband is in the UC system. So typically for the UC systems and just schools in general, they don't give you, like, your financial aid doesn't cover summer school because they're assuming you're gonna like get a job or something during summer. So if my husband is intending to use any funds that he hasn't used throughout the quarters for the summer quarter, so that he can continue going to school without having to take on more than part-time work. So if he changes his mind and goes back doing full-time work during summer, then I'm going to take the funds that wasn't used throughout the quarters, and I'm going to use them to pay off any or as much unsubsidized loans as we can. And a fun fact, you don't, like, if you have funds left over from a subsidized loan or anything like that, then you can take that money that's left over from the subsidized loan and pay it on your unsubsidized loan principal balance. So it doesn't matter which loan the money, like the leftover money, came from, as long as you are using it to pay back your loans. Well, I mean, you don't have to, but that's what we're going to use. That's what we're going to do. So any unused money from the loan disbursements will be used to pay off any unsubsidized loans from, again, the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. Yeah, but we have to do that within 120 days of disbursement. So we do still have money left over from his fall quarter. So I am going to probably ask him this month because it was dispersed in September. So September, October, November, December, January. So this month I have to ask him if he is sure about the attending school in the summer, because after 120 days, then we can't use that money to pay off the loans and make it count as like we never borrowed it. So that's the benefit of returning any unused funds within 120 days, because basically it lowers the principal balance that you originally loaned. So your original loan balance will be lower in direct correlation of how much you return back, return of the unused funds. So that's that. And then, so that's basically going to be the plan while he's in school, because even once he graduates the UC system, because he is considered a junior right now. So he only has like a year and a half or so left in the UC system for his undergrad degree. But once he goes into medical school, his loans will still be deferred because he'll still be in school. So no matter, if he's going to graduate the UC system in a year and a half or so, his loans won't be triggered for repayment because he's still in the system, the school system. So as long as he's still going to school, at least half-time, then his loans will remain in deferment. Yeah, so that's going to be the plan while he's in school. I'm going to revisit the plan once he graduates med school. And because I don't have really any experience with med school loans or like graduate loans, so I'm going to revise the plan once he gets into med school and see what the terms for those medical loans, med school loans are going to be, see like what the difference is, the repayment options, all that kind of good stuff. So that is what we're going to do there. But if anybody wants to know like what I'm thinking once he graduates, or our plan if he ends up not going to summer school and we have those loans, but it's past 120 days of disbursement, so we can no longer return the money and have it directly lower our like the original principal balance, that the original amount that we borrowed. So in 10 years, we should definitely have more money because he should have graduated med school by then and should be entering his profession as a doctor. So we should have plenty of money in order to tackle his school loans. So what we're going to do it's the plan to do is we're going to continue to budget. And 10 years is a long ways away, but I don't intend on switching from the budgeting method that I'm using right now, which is the pay yourself first, with a zero-based budget. So I'll link, my budget plan with me's in a card above so you can see how I budget. No matter how we decide to budget in the future, we're going to keep budgeting so that we do not experience a lifestyle creep once our income increases once he becomes a doctor. So we're going to plan on keeping our expenses low. And I did not move this paper, so I'm just over here talking. So this is the section right here goes over what I'm talking about for repayment after graduation or after 120 days of disbursement. So again, to continue to budget, and we're going to try and keep our expenses low, but I ain't gonna lie, once he becomes a doctor and that money is coming in, we are going on a well-deserved vacation to celebrate. I'm thinking like a week or two, maybe a month, who knows, but it's just gonna be like the most litty vacation ever, because it's this med school and doctor journey is like a long one, but I know in the end it's going to be well worth it. And of course, I'm still going to be doing what I'm going to be doing on, in my career in entrepreneurial journey. So it's going to be exciting to see where I'm at in 10 years. But either way, we are going to be taking a well-deserved vacation. And on top of that, the only other thing that I'm predicting as far as like expenses is basically to top off our emergency fund. So our Murphy account, which is our short-term emergency fund of $1,000 that Dave Ramsey recommends. So that's for like just smaller emergencies, more like nuances or inconveniences and things like that. I plan to top off our emergency fund. So hopefully a year's worth of emergency funds of just the bare minimum standard of living. So, nothing changes, but if we have to look for like another job or we're going through something, then will have at least 12 months of emergency funds stashed away. And then I plan to top off our medical emergency fund, which I want to have a year's worth of our maximum out of pocket. Typically for a family, that's $6,000 to $7,000. And then I want to have at least $1,000 or $2,000 on top of that for any minor medical, like not emergencies, but medical occurrences, such as like a trip to urgent care or some prescription medicine or something like that. Contacts, glasses, just the whole thing, dental. So that's the only thing that I'm planning on increasing once he becomes a doctor. So to top off our savings funds, our savings sinking funds, specifically the emergency ones, and to take a vacation. And then once he graduates, again, we are going to probably set up monthly payments on auto pay so that one, we don't miss a payment. And then two, with federal loans, most loan servicers will give you a 0.25 interest rate reduction on federal student loans for you putting your monthly payments on auto pay. The next thing we're going to do is pay off any unpaid interest if necessary, because again, we do plan on paying any accrued interest while he's in school. But I think I'm mostly talking about the interest that's going to accrue on his med school loans, because those are just going to be astronomical in amount. So that's mostly what I'm talking about, because we should be able to handle the interest rate on his undergrad loans. If you have any unpaid interest on your student loans, the loan servicer automatically, because I believe this is a law, a rule, a guide, I don't know, but the loan officers are obligated to apply any payments that they receive to unpaid interest and fees first, and then to any principal. So that's how they're going to apply it anyway. And since we're probably going to have unpaid interest, we're going to concentrate on paying off any unpaid accrued interest first. And then what we're going to do is concentrate on paying, tackling the principal balance and the interest rates and all that. But we're going to use the debt avalanche method. And the debt avalanche method focuses on tackling debt by paying, one, you're going to pay the minimum on all of your outstanding loans. But with the debt avalanche, you are going to target your loan with the highest interest rate first. So those of you who are familiar with Dave Ramsey, he says to do the debt snowball. But for us, Lord willing, the only debt that we're going to have once my husband graduates in 10 years is going to be student loans. So with that, we're going to concentrate on paying the loan with the highest interest rate first so that we can save money. Any unpaid interest that has accrued once you graduate, that is going to be capitalized upon the original loan balance. If my husband does not use the money that's left over from his student loans in the UC system for summer school, we will be past that 120 days of disbursement. So I'm going to use that money and pay back as much of the principal amount of our highest interest rate. So hopefully that made sense. And that is our student loan repayment plan. So it is, 10 years is a long time, but then again, it's really not. So I like to think about these things ahead of time, because that interest is accruing today. So you want to think about those things today as well. So please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit that subscribe button if it feels right. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.